Yes, hello again. I will continue from the place that I stopped. Um, okay. Uh, so last time I stopped here. How many students we have? By the way, I know that there's a kind of feeling when most of the students are attending to an online lecture. Uh, they are not listening, they are just opening the Zoom like a radio, and they are doing something else. Um, I'm not blaming you. Sometimes, as a teacher, I am doing a similar thing. But the thing here, the important thing here, you will be responsible from this topic. So if still don't have time to I mean attend, or when you're attending, if you are not listening, please after that listen the recordings um, to be sure about that. Also, I will uh, make a quiz, but I don't know if it is next week, but maybe the week after. But related to these topics that I explained to you online, I will give homeworks for the first chapter and this chapter that we did so far. So please, I want you to force you to read these slides later or watch recordings and just be aware of what we are doing. So we were talking about process control block, which it is a kind of data structure. It is also in computer system, and it is holding all the information about a process. So while a process is created, this process control block will start to put the informations. I mean, related to process ID, program counter, process state, priority, this kind of things. So in the priority, I explained you a little bit before lecture ends, previous lecture ends. Priority, it means another example. Think about that when you are not a VIP in airport, you have to wait. Or when your passport is not powerful, like the passport of USA or other, you have to just wait or have some other things. So this is can be count as a priority. So in processes again, while a process is executing while a CPU executing one process, if another higher priority process comes into RAM, in some algorithms, processor will take that one and it will suspend the other one. So it is considering these things by checking this priority. Okay. If priority is high, at process means just have an advantage of running earlier. And it is also, you can see it in banks. I told you yesterday, think about that. You went to a bank and you are waiting, your number is 55. Another person came after you and you know that, okay, he is coming after you and he will serve after you. But while you are waiting, you are seeing that his turn is come, like 755, something like that. Another strange number. And operator takes that guy. This is because bank have some priorities. I mean, maybe that guy is a businessman. They have maybe so much money. You are just a student. That's why his priority is more than you. Okay. So similar things is just also doing in operating system by using operating system. Why? Because okay, I just gave you some bad examples. I mean, something like you can feel that someone is just cutting your rights. But think about that in hospital. You just burned your finger very, very little. And they are just making you, just putting you some cream. And on the other hand, some car accident happened and a guy in a very bad situation, maybe he has several broken parts, come into the emergency room. So that doctor should continue on putting you cream, or he will just start to take care of the other guy. So this is another kind of priority. So it's important. It is much more important than your finger because that guy may die. So in this kind of situations, operating system is deciding which process will execute next. Okay, the general purpose registers are used to hold the data which is generated during the execution of the process. So all the data that is generated, we are holding it into registers. Registers are a kind of memory. It is much more smaller than other memories. You can say it is about kilobytes. For example, RAM is about gigabytes, hard disk about hundreds of gigabytes or terabytes, but general purpose registers are about kilobytes. Just it is for holding some numbers. Also here, while a process is executing, maybe we need some other files with that one. So also it will just take into consideration the list of open files. We are holding that as well. And list of open devices. So which devices are using during the execution of that process. The process control block is also just holding that information. Okay. In the process control block, which I told you it is just holding all information related to a process. It is holding process states. Process state is something like that. For example, alive or dead. We can say it is the state of our lives. Okay, or we can make it more. But states are not something like showing the place, physical place of a process in computer system, but logically situation. In what situation is the process? So the process, just 1 second. I'm looking for the okay. Okay. The process from its creation to completion. I mean, when it is created, when a process is needed, for example, you press an icon of a program or another program just needs another process to execute. So in this kind of situations, a process should be created. Creation to completion. I mean, when it is created, the process, it should be executed by the CPU. And when it is finished execution, it is completed. So this is the from creation to completion. It passes through various states. The minimum number of states is 5. Here we have 7 states, but it is more or less actually just the expansion of 5 states. Doesn't matter, I will explain. In some systems, it is explaining with 2 states, some of them 3, 5, 7. Okay. So we have 7 states. Each of them is called a state. Each circle. New state is a program that is going to be picked up by the operating system into the main memory. So when it is from hard disk to RAM, when it is loaded from hard disk to RAM, a new process is created. So this is new state. Okay. So it is very easy, new state. So also new state is means that just taking from the hard disk and putting it into RAM. But it is just creating. Okay. Whenever in ready state, the second one, whenever a process is created, it directly enters to it in the ready state, in which it waits for the CPU to be assigned. So ready state, you can say that in new state, we can say it is a kind of, the process is created. It is inside RAM. Sorry, it is just, how can I say, it is waiting to enter to ready state. But when it is in ready state, you can say that the process is inside RAM. Ready means it is ready for execution. So the operating system picks the new processes from the secondary memory and put all of them in the main memory. So from secondary to main memory. The processes which are ready for execution and reside in the main memory are called ready state processes. So in new state, maybe we can say the process is created and loading into RAM, but maybe not finished. Or maybe in new state, it is just in the hard disk, but just created. Okay, so in new state, we can say that the process is just created and started to put into RAM. But in ready state, process is completely inside the RAM or main memory. So it is ready for execution. There can be many processes present in the ready state. So as much as it fits, I mean, according to your memory's capacity, you can put as much as you want until it is full. The third state is running state. So in the ready state, let's say this is our ready state. Let's say we have some processes, P1, P2, P3. Okay, so these are ready states. When CPU pick one of them for execution, it will be in running state. Okay, this process is running. So if we have only one CPU in our system, the number of running processes for a particular time will always be 1. Actually, in this lecture, we are thinking that we have only one CPU because it will be much more complicated. But if we have one CPU, only one process can be executed in a time. But if we have n processors, so we can have n processes running simultaneously. So if we have 4 processors, we can run 4 processes at the same time. So this is the third state, run. Okay. So new, ready, run. Okay. Block or wait. This one. So from ready, new to ready, let's say it is just happens smoothly. From ready, schedule and dispatch means schedule or dispatch. It means according to its priority or the algorithm, whatever it is, CPU pick one process for execution. Okay. But while it is running, if everything completed smoothly, it will be completed and it will be in termination state. But if not, let's say block or wait. From running state, a process can make the transition to the block or wait for state depending upon the scheduling algorithm or the intrinsic behavior of the process. So in some situation, it may go to wait or block state. Actually, I explained this to you before. When a process waits for a certain resource to be assigned, so some data should be given to the process to continue execution. So, or any other resource, or some input-output operation it needs. So in this kind of situation, from running state, the process will go to wait or block state. Okay. So it needs some operation to do. So instead of waiting that process, it will just remove it from execution, and CPU will take another process in this case. So the operating system moves the process to the block or wait for state and assigns the CPU to the other processes. Okay, so it will continue. I explained before the quiz example. Let's say I'm going to ask everyone 3 questions in the class. I started the first one, I asked 3 questions, then the second one. In second question, that student told me, okay, I have an urgent phone call. She went out, or he went out. So instead of waiting for that student, I will continue from to take another student. So this is similar. And that situation of that student is wait or block or wait, doesn't matter the order. So completion or termination. When a process finishes its execution, it comes in the termination state. So from new to ready, ready to run, run to completion. Of course, it may follow the other ways according to the situation of the process, but eventually it should be in running process, finish execution. When a process finished its execution, it is going to termination state. And this is important. Only context of the process. Context of the process is process control block. Will also be deleted when the process is terminated by the operating system. So it is deleting when it is finished execution. The process control block will not be useful anymore. Of course, if that process created again, everything will start over. So this is completion or termination. Suspend ready. This state. So think about that. The processes are in ready state. What does it mean? They are waiting for execution. But which process can go to suspend ready? A process in the ready state which is moved to the secondary memory from the main memory due to lack of resources. Something like that. Think about that. Your memory is full. Operating system should select some processes. Your memory is full, but still new urgent processes are coming. They need to put into memory. But think about that. You have to remove some memory and then take that processes. Operating system should select the least important processes. It means the processes that are not using, but they still in the main memory, or they are using less than the others, something like that. So some processes may put back into secondary memory, but not execution will not be finished. It is just they are suspending. Okay, they are putting to that part secondary memory, and after, for example, they have enough space, they will take it back. Okay, so in suspend ready situation, the processes are in secondary memory here. Let me read. If the main memory is full and the higher priority process comes for the execution, then the operating system have to make the room for the process in the main memory by throwing the lower priority process. out into the secondary memory. So here we are sending them into secondary memory. So when a process is in this state, I should know that it is in secondary memory. So the suspend ready processes remain in the secondary memory until the main memory gets available. Okay, and this is suspend ready process. So while we are in ready state, process is in ready state, if its priority is low and memory is full and higher priority process has to come for execution. So we can, operating system may just send lower priority processes to secondary memory to make some space for the higher priority processes. So this is suspend ready state. I mean, sending the processes to secondary memory, lower priority processes. Okay. Other one. So if you remember, while a process is executing, if it needs any input-output operation or similar thing, a kind of situation that CPU should wait for it. It is sending the process into wait or block states. Okay. When it is in wait or block state, it may finish its operation and then send to ready state. Think about that. It finished input-output operation, and when it is finished, it is sent to ready state again. Ready means ready for execution. It will wait its turn. But it is another option from wait or block to suspend wait. Let's check. Instead of removing the process from the ready queue, it is better to remove the block process, which is waiting for some resources in the main memory. So since it is already waiting for some resource to get available, hence it is better if it waits in the secondary memory and make room for the higher priority process. So think about that. In this, you are in this situation, process is in this situation, but it couldn't finish the task. So it may go to suspend wait situation, and if they finish I mean that operation, they will go to suspend ready situation. So here actually it is how can I say, it is still waiting for that situation, it is again in secondary memory. Here, wait or block, we can say that it is waiting for some input-output operation. It will, when it is go to suspend wait state, it will put into secondary memory, but still it is waiting for that reason. So when it is finished, it is goes to suspend ready, or it is resuming and goes to wait or block. So this one is a little bit complicated. I will later explain it in more details, but generally just know that we have 7 states. So in the class next week, I will just explain it with better examples. In online lecture, it is not easy to explain. But if you understand the, for example, this only suspend wait is a little bit complicated. The others are easy actually. Okay, I will explain again and you will understand better. Okay. So these are the states. I mean, okay, I will take the attendance in last lecture, so please don't write to me now. Okay. So next one, in next lecture, I mean, after I finish this one, I will continue from operations on the process. So how a process is creating, the scheduling, execution, everything. So I will stop the lecture now. In a few minutes, I will open it again. So I'm not going to give a break for this one. And in third lecture, you can just send me your ID numbers for attendance. And also it is better to bring me the groups with the ID numbers. Okay, see you in a few minutes.